Hey guys, welcome back to the Power Network. I'm Amy. This one actually came from a viewer today. So thank you to Andrea C. for the PayPal message and for pointing me towards PD questions. That note got me thinking, what are the men saying in all this hidden true crime drama? Are they viewing it the way Dr. John sees it, or are they seeing it for what it really is? And we can't forget the victims in all of this: JJ, Tylee, Charles, and Tammy. Their names keep getting caught up in creators' emotions and online theatrics, but at the end of the day, they're the ones who mattered. So let's break it down: empathy, ego, and what happens when true crime forgets the true. Shout out to my dragonflies and my replay crew. Love you, baby. Love you, babies. And let's get into it.
Cavalier's drumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue.
I was muted. Here in the blue and in the essence of gratitude. It's so good to be here with my power crew today. How's everyone doing on this November 4th, 2025? I hope you're doing well. As I said in this intro, I wanted to look at the men's point of view. Our channel's name originally was ParaWomen Radio. We're moving over to the Power Network, but you know, as the show title goes, I am very pro women, and I've always had this feminine divinity inside of me, and but at the same respect, as much as I honor and respect femininity, I do the same for masculinity. So I think they're two very important things in this world, completely different things that need to be honored in their own right. I'm a feminist, but in a weird kind of way, where I think women should be able to do anything men should do if they can do it. Like, I'm not saying I don't agree with women becoming firefighters if they don't have the physical strength to do it. And the same things with men. If they don't have, like, I don't agree with men having babies and trying to have babies and stuff like that. Just like, let's not mess with that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's just how I feel. And in that aspect, in that vein, I wanted to take a peek at the male perspective in all of this, as we got Dr. John weighing in the male perspective. And I'm just wondering, is that the male perspective? So, in our most glorious way possible, that's what we're going to try to take a look at. Also, I just don't want to forget the victims in this. And it, you know, one of the things that burns my butt in this whole thing is that she compared herself to the victims. And I'm putting Tammy in there too, because I know Tammy wasn't really mentioned, but to me, Tammy is a victim in all of this. And technically, I mean, Alex might be too. But anyway, Tammy's in today. We're going to take a look at the very end at the victim statements, the people who lost these people that are victims as well, and just kind of bring it back home. So let me say hi to everybody. I see some of you guys are filing in. So good morning. Good morning, Kylie Cosmos. About to jump in shower. Okay, get yourself all clean and ready for the day. I don't think men could take the path of childbirth. Yeah, I don't think they could either, but we're in 2025, and that's all I'll say. Not trying to get into politics and stuff like that. Same. I'm old school feminist, right? Equal rights. If you can do it, equal frickin' rights. I'm all for it. But I'm not, I don't want some person that can't save me coming in to save me just to say that I can do, like, no. No. So, good morning. Good morning, Zenjan. Good morning to everybody hanging out there in the ethers. Good morning, Even Phillips Marketing. So good to see everybody here. Welcome to everybody. Welcome all to the new people. Welcome to the OGs. So good to see you. Let me get my screen situated and we'll get into it. While I'm doing that, I like to talk about the algorithm dance party where you just warm your fingers up and dance it right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. You share your DNA with me. It just helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more cool people like you back to the party. I'll show you a lot of stuff today, but we don't always watch everything in its entirety. We do this, but what I will do is put it down in the show notes, and we do this to cite our sources and for fair use. We encourage you to go and check out every content creator that we choose, but we can't say that, we support them or not support them. It's just we're showing it. We don't want you. I'm not here to make you make up your mind. I want you to be free thinkers. I don't want you to tell me what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you my point of view. I'm interested in your point of view. And yeah, if it's like both sides can hang out with me, as long as it's done with respect. So the person, 2 days ago, I was doing a live and this content creator, let me get myself out of the way here. This content creator popped up. And I had this moment where I was like, wow, it's so good to hear from the male perspective. And I was trying to think, is there anybody else? Are there any other males? Which, I mean, there were. Turtle Boy was staring me right in the face. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting, but I couldn't remember. But I came up with how many perspectives? Four males today that we're going to look at. So this was the first guy that we looked at. This was Docket Decoder, and the video that we looked at was Hidden True Crime Crisis, when the psychologist can't regulate anger, boundaries, and ethics. We're going to take a quick peek at it. We've already looked at some of it, and then we're going to look at another one that he did.
And the result is a version of psychology that looks a lot more like a personal rant with credentials attached. And that's not just uncomfortable, it's ethically dangerous, because viewers can't separate the person from the profession once he's blurred that line himself.
So this idea of female stalkers being frivolous and silly and hysterical and overly emotional, most of the people saying that are males. Mm-hmm. Because they can't handle that type of emotion. They can't handle that vulnerability. So the
Dr. John saying this really got me thinking about, like, what are the males thinking? I also had a thought about Dr. John in itself. Like, it's shocking to me that his name is spelled John, because he really strikes me as a Jon. If you've ever known a Jon compared to a John, there's definitely a difference. And I would have pegged Dr. John as a Jon. What do you guys think? And you know what? I'm a Gen Xer. It's all fun if you're a Jon and you're completely normal and whatever. But all the Dr. Johns that I've known, Jons, they've been a little more high strung than the Johns. But maybe times are changing.
Easy response to that is to point the finger at you and say, you're lying, you're faking. Mm-hmm. The goal is not only to play in this, to fall into the stereotype of that only males are stalkers, only males can be violent. That's bullshit. The goal is to disempower you. The goal is to disempower all females that are stalked by other females. The goal is to make you look irrational. The goal is to make you look weak and stupid and irrational. It's to call you a liar, to discredit you. And you know what it's about? It's about the fact that these people cannot handle vulnerability. It's about the fact that years ago when that person cut me off, she could not handle my vulnerability and my raw emotion. And I'm still pissed.
I'm pissed for you.
Years later, I'm pissed
mad
that somebody cut me off when I was going to answer my question.
What nerve? I'm sorry.
And probably the most
I literally can't watch this without talking back to him because it's just so ridiculous. Just so ridiculous.
vulnerable way I could ever answer a question. Because it was about my son. And it was about JJ.
Which it shouldn't have been.
Wow. So we can see in that clip that just a few minutes later in the video, he comes back to it. He comes back to the same story, the same emotion, the same resentment. But this time, he's tying it directly to the current feud. He says, the goal is to make you look weak and stupid and irrational. I'm still pissed years later. At that point, the clip stopped being about his old wounds. It became an emotional bridge between a past grievance and the present conflict. In this, he's not processing his anger. He's actually weaponizing it. What's striking is that he's a psychologist, but he doesn't recall the moment with reflection. He recalls it with resentment, his tone, his posture, his pacing. Make it clear that emotionally, he's still there.
He's too involved and invested in this to possibly give a unbiased opinion. And in my opinion, he should have just stayed out of it.
For a psychologist, that
or put himself into it as if he is the victim of a stalker too, instead of coming forward like he's this great psychologist. And I know that he wrote this statement to the court too, which is just ridiculous to me. I mean, he's just too deep in it.
distinction matters. Healthy self-reflection can turn old pain into insight, but unresolved countertransference turns old pain into fuel. So when he says, I'm still pissed years later, he's kind of revealing a total lack of emotional closure.
Just showing his
That's
ass.
exactly the kind of unresolved material that clinicians are supposed to be trained to monitor before entering any public or professional space. So let's refer back to standard 2.06 about personal problems and conflicts. And that doesn't just talk about physical illness. It explicitly covers emotional conditions that could impair your judgment. It says psychologists must refrain from initiating an activity when personal problems are likely to prevent them from performing their work-related activities in a competent manner. Now, nobody's saying that a psychologist can't ever be angry. They are human. But when anger dominates a professional presentation, and when that presentation directly involves real people being publicly discussed, that's not just catharsis. That's impaired objectivity. And that's exactly the scenario that standard 2.06 was written to prevent. There's also a vulnerability paradox on display here. You know, he tries to frame his anger as moral high ground, claiming that the person who cut him off years ago just couldn't handle male vulnerability. That might sound insightful on the surface, but it's actually a rhetorical deflection. He turns his unprocessed resentment into psychological diagnosis of someone else. That's another instance of what we've seen throughout this whole video. Personal feelings cloaked in professional language. Let's be honest, instead of owning his anger, he pathologizes the other person's reaction to it. For a licensed psychologist, that seems like a major ethical issue. But again, he's doing it under the banner of professional authority in a public space.
I think that's the problem that I have with this the most is that he does this everything he does is under professional authority. Don't question Dr. John because he's a professional. And his wife will point out that he went to Princeton and was like whatever he was, whatever honors he got. So don't question Dr. John. And he came forward under that guise. And I have a real issue with that. So let's keep moving on. This is an earlier video. He did this one before he did that last one. And I just wanted to take a peek at it before we move on to Turtle Boy. we're going to put the comedy in the middle, and then we're going to move on. Then we'll go on to the one Andrea suggested, the PD questions. But so, yeah.
Welcome back to Docket Decoder. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Lauren Mathias and all the drama that's unfolding around her and her channel, Hidden True Crime. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the most recent video that channel has put out.
Did they say that they don't have their own therapist? Because they really should. The sign of a good therapist is to always have that was one of the first things you learn in your psychology classes. And one of the first things that my psych professor told me is that you always need to be able to work out your own shit first. And they actually almost force you into doing it when you're studying. Well, in my opinion, and everybody I knew that was in psychology, sociology, we were all working our own stuff. But anyway, that's a problem if that's true. Did they say that they don't have one? Just curious.
And that is the video that largely features Lauren's husband, Dr. John. And I've got to be honest, when I was watching this video, it brought up a lot of emotion for me. There was a part of me that completely understands the instinct behind what he's doing. I mean, I'm a husband, and if someone is coming after my wife, if she's being hurt or being attacked,
I get the instinct, totally get the instinct. Actually, support the instinct, because I mean, it feels good when the man in your life wants to protect you. It's not good when they like go behind your back and do stuff, right? But it's good when, they get that, it's my woman, I'm going to protect. And, you get that for your husband or I'm saying male husband, or it can be like your partner in your life. So it can be your love, the person that you're with in your world. Okay. So, but I am a straight woman, so I do come at it like in that way. So just know that I mean whoever you love. Okay. So, you want to protect that person, and it kind of feels good in a sense, but you don't want them to cross these boundaries. But then he crossed these boundaries by doing what he did, and then using his degree and coming at it like he's a professional. I don't know. That's just how I see it, though.
Online, my natural instinct is going to be to protect her. I feel like that's just human. It's not even a choice. It's kind of a built-in response. So I get that. And I think that in that regard, the story makes sense. I think as you watch the videos that have been put out, it's pretty clear to see that both Lauren and Dr. John are feeling hurt. They feel betrayed. They feel misunderstood. And that emotion, that raw need to defend the person that you love, it's something I think that most of us can relate to.
Yeah.
I don't want to fault him for being emotional. Honestly, I think that makes sense and is to be expected. But what made the video so hard for me to watch wasn't the emotion itself. It's how it completely took over. As I listened, I could feel how his own emotions were shaping every conclusion, every theory, every explanation. And as an outside observer, it was hard not to notice how skewed and at times almost irrational some of his reasoning became. I'll admit there were parts that even made me laugh out loud because the logic just didn't hold up. But when I finished the video, I had an uneasy feeling in my stomach. And as I thought about that, I guess I realized why. And I think it's that Dr. John wasn't just speaking as a husband defending his wife. He was also very clearly speaking as a licensed psychologist, which really is his role on the channel. And those two roles, husband and psychologist, they didn't mix well for this kind of situation. And that's when it really clicked for me. That's what made the whole thing feel so wrong. It wasn't just the drama. It was that dual role that he was stepping into. One is a deeply personal, emotional role, intertwined with a professional, authoritative role. And when a psychologist blurs those lines, it's not just awkward, it's unethical.
It is, and it puts the hairs on the internet's back up, and then it gets the super sleuths wondering, and it invites some deeper and further into your lives. When you come out and say, I'm a professional, I went to this and this and this school, and I did this and this and this, don't be surprised when someone actually checks up on that. Don't be surprised if you're a limited public figure and someone actually checks to see where you went to school and where you work and if you're actually doing it. Don't be offended when they go to your LinkedIn. Don't be upset when they actually look at your LinkedIn page. It's just
So I decided to look up the American Psychological Association Code of Ethics, which is basically the rule book the licensed psychologists are supposed to live by.
Thank you.
And yeah, the situation sets off alarms on multiple levels. That dual role alone is a huge ethical red flag. But as I kept reading through the Code of Ethics, it became clear that there were a lot of other ethical standards that he probably violated as well in this video. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a psychologist. I don't claim any expertise in professional ethics. This video is just my own personal opinion and commentary. It's meant for entertainment, really. But after watching that live stream and then reading through the code of ethics, I couldn't help but think, if I were the TikToker in this situation, I'd be seriously considering filing an ethical complaint. If I were Dr. John, I'd feel very concerned about it.
I promise you these complaints have been filed already. And I promise you that Dr. John and Lauren opened these doors wide open for this to happen. I often think, I'm always trying to think, like, how could they possibly make this, like, when mistakes happen, I realize now that mistakes can happen so that good can happen. Like, it depends on how you handle these things, because you can make a mistake something really good, and vice versa. Something really good can turn into something really but I walk around thinking, how can they fix this at this point? And I think of ways like, okay, well, if they just came out and took accountability, but is it too late for that? I think it's kind of too late. They've said too much, they've done too much, and they've given Christina too much. So, like, could they have possibly in the beginning won a defamation suit? I don't know, maybe with their 4 lawyers, maybe if they hadn't done all that they did at CrimeCon and all that other bullshit, maybe. But now, I don't know. I'm fascinated. But what they're doing now, staying silent, is very interesting to me. And I didn't go over to their newest video. Well, I didn't watch it, but I wanted to go into the comments to see what they were saying. And I did manage, and I didn't screenshot it. I wish I had, but I did manage to catch one comment where somebody was like saying to Lauren, "Oh, I'm so happy that you're holding your head up through all this drama and people calling you this and that, and your reporting is so spot on and you're so magical." And sorry, I just added the magical part. But anyway, of course, Lauren liked it. And so then people were replying to it. So I went down into the comments, and then there was this one woman, and I wish I had remembered her name, but she had the nerve to say, and let me tell you, she had the nerve to say this. She said, "Lauren, I unsubbed from you after that 9.5-hour live. I don't understand why you would do something like that. It is not stalking, and I've lost all respect for you." Well, of course, everybody, slammed it. And, why are you even here? And blah, 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 blah. But she couldn't delete it at that point because she had already liked it and thanked the person. She might have deleted it by now, but that's what's happening over in her comments. And I just think they've gone way too far. Let me see what you guys are saying. I'm kind of think too late. They had, I think, 321 subs, and now they're down to 315. Yes, and that's their core viewers, and that's dangerous. And I've had a lot of people in my comments say that they were hidden true crime people, and I don't celebrate that they're losing viewership. I celebrate that the truth is coming out. I would, if they had handled it way better, this could be like, I don't know. I'm sitting here talking. Maybe they could still. I don't think it's going to be the end of them, but I think their glory days are gone. They're not going anywhere. They'll still eke out a living, and a pretty decent living, because we went over their whatever, and that one video they got quite a bit, and through their YouTubes and their Patreons, they're in the millions a year. They're in the millions. So, they're going to be fine. It's going to be, but will they learn from it? Will this be the turning moment in their life where they said, "Whoo, I fucked up. I did wrong"? I don't think so. I wish, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I always want people to do better, to learn and grow and do better. Yeah, losing 7,000 subscribers is a huge dent. Huge dent. I don't think they're going anywhere. It's a huge dent. You unsubscribed I was never a subscriber, but I have to say that when I saw their coverage of the Delphi case, I was like, what? Because I was outraged by that case. I was outraged. I don't know if he's guilty or he's not. And that's a problem. And I think the whole world doesn't know that because of the way he was treated through the whole process of it and how, anyway, so yeah. All right, let me get back into this. I kind of went off the trail with the Delphi, sorry.
How I was going to be able to defend my license in front of an ethics board if this gets brought up. Honestly, the whole video would have landed very differently if he would have just started off by saying, now look, I'm not speaking as a psychologist right now. I'm speaking as a husband who wants to stand up for his wife. That simple disclaimer would have erased a lot of things in my mind, and it would have at least clarified the context. But in reality, he did the exact opposite. He opened by formally identifying himself as a licensed clinical and forensic psychologist. He told the audience that he'd be analyzing the situation from a psychological perspective.
I want to talk about what happened, but I want to do it more philosophically and more psychologically. So we're going to get into things like the psychology of stalking. We're going to get into the nature of this conflict, the nature of why people, or the different conversations people are having since you released your live, whether you're lying, whether you're telling the truth, right? Like whether you were stalked. Is that just free speech? Right? We're going to cover all of that. And we're going to cover that.
Yes, I really think they thought that the true crime community was going to back them. And they did in the beginning. And I did. I've said it. I was texting Amber from Into the Weeds. I was like, oh my gosh, because this plays on every person's fear, kind of, right? Like, one of the main reasons that many of us get into true crime is because it's very scary to think that you might be attacked or something might happen to you. And, it kind of gives you ways and thoughts and ideas how I know I will never go to a second location. I will fight to the death. You will not take me to a second location, right? We all kind of know we've thought about this, or we've had a crime happen to us or something, right? So they played on our fears. And they didn't think it one step further that we all do this for shits and giggles half the time and that we're going to examine it. Right. So it backfired on them, and until they're ready to come out and say, oopsie, did we do that? I don't think they're going to there's going to be no rest for the wicked, no rest for the weary.
From mainly a psychological perspective, because I am a psychologist. But since
you have your PhD in psychology,
right, not philosophy. Just to clarify, a PhD is by definition a doctor of philosophy.
Don't worry, I covered that in my life.
So
we're good.
Yeah, so correct. I am a licensed psychologist. I am a clinical and forensic psychologist, and so we're going to approach this largely from a psychological perspective.
And that's the moment that I realized this wasn't just emotional; it was ethical. Because the second he said that, he wasn't just a husband anymore. He was a professional, and he was claiming expert authority over a personal feud. And that, according to the APA, opens the door to some very serious ethical questions.
Let me move it forward.
Not consented. He's using his professional status to give those opinions weight, which can mislead the public into thinking that they are authoritative psychological assessments. That's pretty much textbook misuse of credentials in a way that damages the public's understanding of psychology. Throughout the video, you hear Dr. John talking about Lauren's former friends and the TikToker, and he puts labels on them over and over again. Labels like envious, malicious, obsessive. And in this next clip, you're going to hear him talk about what he describes as a moral crusade, and he's explaining why it's likely, or at least it may, end in violence, and why they feel so at risk because of this.
I do want to break in here and say that we are going to watch a little Duty Ron. I actually have not been able to stomach the whole Duty Ron, so we're throwing that in at the end, and we are going to take a quick peek at it because I always want to try to be fair. And also, I think it will be interesting to look back on it and to speculate on, because I know he hasn't said anything since then. Has he, Duty Ron? Because I went to his page and I just see that there. So I know the only person that's really double, triple, quadruple down on it is Megan. And even, I don't know if she's been doing anything lately too. Also, the story's kind of dying down. Like I said, there's going to be a time where there's just not a whole lot going on. Like we're at that point where we've investigated a lot of it, most of it. And we just need to hear what Christina's going to do, in my opinion.
You also hear him
or if Dr. John and Lauren Turret are going to move it forward, or if they're going to try to I did see that they're just trying to put out their videos. They're not saying too much. Are they just hoping that if they just go back to business as usual, that we'll forget about it? I think that's kind of like what the playbook they're using right now.
All parallels to stalking risk assessments and the Milgram experiments. And then, so let's watch this clip, and then we'll talk about some of the standards that are clearly violated by him in this.
There's a couple of psychologists, Alan Fisk and Tage Rye. They wrote a book called Virtuous Violence. They've done a lot of research on this, by the way, so there's empirical support for this theory.
Okay.
But I'm going to read a little bit from their book and start explaining.
It's quite possible Duty Ron gave his perspective from a law enforcement point of view in what he was given, but I do think as him being law enforcement, he should have gotten maybe all aspects of the side of the situation. But I understand that he was coming from it as a friend too. So there's that. I mean, I don't fault people. I'm not a perfect person, you guys. I've fucked up in my life. I've done things that, like, when people say there's nothing in my life that I regret, you're like, what? Really? You don't regret when you hurt a person? I regret that deeply. Like, if I could take some things back, where the look in somebody's face when I've said something or done something that, like really? You're that person? So, I mean, I'm not that person either. I've messed up. I've done some things that I'm not so proud of, but the only way to fix that is to say that, to admit it, to own it, and not say, yeah, but, just to be like, yeah, I did that. And not even really the real, like, if somebody can tell the story and not say what the person did to you to get you to that point, because I'm sure, like, everybody got to a certain point to get to the certain point, right? But to own your own shit and not do a yeah, but, that's strength there, in my opinion.
Why this moral crusade and this desire for certain party, this self-righteous moral, referendum on you is important. So here we go. Most violence, this is according to the theory by Fisk and Ray, most violence is morally motivated. People do not simply justify or excuse their violent actions after the fact. At the moment they act, people intend to cause harm or death to someone they feel should suffer or die. That is, people are impelled to violence when they feel that to regulate certain social relationships.
Paul, it wasn't aimed at you. That's just a disclaimer that we put in the chat because I want to welcome everybody from both sides. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't have their own opinion, because I've had thoughts where the whole crowd is going one way and I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. And I want to be able to state it. And if I can state it in a respectful way, I want that to be honored. And so that's just kind of like what that meant. So just we want people to be respectful, but to be heard too.
Imposing suffering or death is necessary, natural, legitimate, desirable, condoned, admired, and ethically gratifying. In short, most violence is the exercise of moral rights and obligations. Working within the framework of a relational models theory, our thesis is that people are morally motivated to do violence to create, conduct, protect, redress, terminate, or mourn social relationships with the victim or with others. We call our theory virtuous violence theory. So why is this important? It's important because there's a lot of evidence suggesting, I'm going to read a line in here that I think is really critical. In short, most violence is the exercise of moral rights and obligations, right?
Okay, I need to stop the video right there real quick. Just to point out, so he repeatedly frames ordinary interpersonal conflict, things that we all deal with, friendship fallouts, gossip, social media drama, but he's framing them as moral crusades that could end in violence. And that's not a claim that's supported by facts, at least not facts provided. And arguably, that would be fear-mongering. And so I'm not going to read every standard that I think applies to every situation, but I'll just point out quickly that I think the relevant standards that apply in this situation would be standard 2.01, boundaries of competence, standard 5.01b, public statements, and standard 5.04, media presentations. And I think the reason that this situation is problematic is he's representing his statements as scientific or clinical truth rather than subjective defense of his wife, which is what it is. And this harms public trust in psychology, and it creates a distorted view of what psychological assessment and risk analysis actually looks like. All right, back to the video.
The reason this is important is because virtuous violence theory completely applies to your situation in the sense that the people engaging in the smear campaign feel morally justified. They feel like their moral rights were violated and they want retribution.
One of them reposted on her TikTok that we should bring back public shaming. That's kind of what you're,
Exactly.
which is the Salem witch trials too. I mean, I guess a lot of people feel that way. Yeah, clearly.
But the larger point here is that there's research supporting this, and that if you engage in kind of this extreme moral crusade against someone, the natural and logical conclusion to that is harm or death. And if you think about the smear campaign, so the stalker who began the TikTok, she says quite clearly that her goal is to burn the kingdom down, right? It's clear that her goal is not only harm, reputational harm, emotional harm, psychological harm, but the harm that she really wants to affect is to ruin you and ruin your life and burn the whole kingdom down, right? The goal. So what that's implying is that she won't stop until that harm is executed and complete. So if she burns the kingdom down, then she feels morally vindicated. Or if there's a death, if someone harms themselves or someone harms you, then the game's over. She's morally vindicated. Here's the problem. Here's the risk.
Such irony that these two are burning their own kingdom down, learning how much they actually earn, and them seeing them burn their own kingdom down. It's like, what? The irony in this situation, and they don't see it.
This is why this is so.
And this is another thing that burns my butt, is when somebody brings up the exiting life on one's own term, when you know that that's not what they mean. Like, you don't one day say, I wanted to end my life, and then the next day you're fine. It takes us, I just don't believe overnight you heal from that thought pattern. And so to bring something that deep and heavy into it, and him be a psychologist, really just burns me.
Risky and so important, because these people, these self-righteous, morally superior people, they want moral vindication, and they're not going to stop until they get moral vindication. And the way they get moral vindication, the way this game ends, is either you're dead or you're completely ruined. That's it. And that, by the way, is malicious intent. One of the things about stalking, and we're going to talk about the definition of stalking in a little bit, there has to be malicious intent. There has to be some intent to cause harm. You have it in spades here. When someone says that they want to burn your kingdom down, when they want to expose you, when they want to harm you, they feel justified in doing it. They feel, as virtuous violence theory would predict, they feel like most violence is the exercise of moral rights and obligations. That's exactly what this is. They're exercising in their mind their moral rights and obligations.
It's like, yeah, guys, you hear that? You see, you hear?
Because you harm them, because you're immoral, because you're a bad person, and they will not stop until their goal is met, which is to ruin you or have you end up dead.
So her goal was to ruin Christina first. We're going to take a moment and move on to the next person, but I want to do a palate cleanser. And thank you. I forget who told me this in my comments, but they said, because she's a yeah butter. She's a yeah but. And I had no idea that it was a comedy bit by Vicky Pollard. So this reminded me of our Lauren Turd. What? So reminds me of these people. They are so yeah butters, and they do all this drama and whatever, and you know they're doing it, and they've done all this yeah but, but you're doing it too. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's move on. Hold on one second, you guys. And the next person I wanted to take a peek at was the PD questions. Oh, no, sorry. He's not the next person. The next person I wanted to take a look at was Turtle Boy. So Turtle Boy has been on this case since the very beginning, I would say. He's been breaking it up into segments. And so I thought we could take a peek at that. Hold on one second. I'm having some problems. Today we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And hold on one second. And I'm having a problem with the Facebook part of it. So let me fix that really quick. Or I don't know. It's telling me it's having problems with Facebook. So I think right now we're just doing YouTube and Twitch. So if you guys could give me love on the platform you're at, that helps me go out into the algorithm. Please look and see if you're subscribed, because I would love to have you as a subscriber. So Turtle Boy became famous with the Karen Reed trial. Early on, he did start covering it, minus the where is it? There it is. So he's decided to draw on our, I think he drew them on right here. Anyway, he has been doing this reporting with the eyebrows on, and we're going to take a peek at what he did. I want to look at his take on Dr. John. Since we are doing the male perspective, I kind of wanted to do his take on the male perspective of Dr. John. So we're kind of getting into that niche where we're going right in to Turtle Boy talking about how he felt Dr. John's live went with, well, it actually wasn't even a live. It was a recorded video premiere of Dr. John.
Toupee to me. I mean, it looks like a boy's regular. It looks like my haircut, kind of like. That's not a toupee. Stop it.
I think it's a comb over, actually. I don't think it's a toupee. I think it's strategically cut so that it covers spots. That's my opinion, only because my stepdad, Clyde, growing up, had a very similar haircut, and it was a comb over. But I could be wrong.
It says BLT is a bitch. Nice hair, Elton John. I don't really care if he has. I don't care if he's got a toupee. I mean, whatever. It's none of my business. You know, nothing wrong with a toupee.
Actually, I agree with that. I had back surgery, and I had a I had to have one of my discs decompressed, and I truly wish I had waited longer to have it done, because it sent me on a path that I didn't know if I was coming back from, and I still have weakness in my back. So I get like cysts that grow on my back, and they decompress and stuff like that happens. So I agree. If you can hold off from back surgery, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I need to weigh in on that, because I had back surgery about it was about 6 years ago.
Or could be, could be hair plugs. I mean, that's always Dr. What's his name? That Portnoy is always pimping out. It could be something like, or it doesn't fucking matter. Just leave him alone. This hair's got nothing to do with it. EMC sends $10, goes, Turtle Boy ain't the 1, the 2, or the 3. LOL.
Okay, I have to say it.
Appreciate that. Chrissy
I have
sends
to say it. He compared, I have to say it. He said Dr. John's haircut's kind of like his. And I think maybe we're hitting close to, like, I feel so horrible for men and the balding, and like, I'm so grateful for most women, that's not a thing that we got to deal with a lot of shit, but balding usually isn't a thing that, and I feel horrible, just horrible for women that have to deal with that kind of thing, because in our society, hair, and it just seems like in every culture, is just like everything. And so I think we're hitting close to home here with the hair and Turtle Boy and Dr. John. But I say, if it's in your face and if it's there and if somebody's doing a comb over, I'm going to talk about it. Same with her eyebrows.
$10 and goes, the well-embrowed journalism. Ooh, well-embrowed. I like that one. I like that. Thank you, Chrissy. Laura sends $5, goes, watching you watch that was heartbreaking. I'm sorry. Well, thank you. And I went through a lot. It was very traumatizing, but just pray for Mike Crawford. That's all I'm saying. You know, that was a rough night for Mike Crawford, because he's next. You know what I mean? He had to get a criminal defense attorney. Give him a break.
This is a show where he did two things. So he's talking about what he did earlier in the show.
So as tough as I had it, let's not overlook the sacrifices of Mike Crawford. Jennifer sends 50.
I've gotten haircuts where I have cried. Where like, what happened? Yeah. Hair is like very important to me too. So I feel I feel bad for people that have to deal with that. I've thought about it too. Like, if I were a guy, I would just shave my head if I was going bald. Women, I would just, I did it. I used to dye my hair this really pretty red color, copper color. And it just got to the point where I had to do it like every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And it was just too much. So I decided I wanted to go to my natural hair color, but growing red hair out, when your hair is growing out gray, and like my hair was like a bleach, like a dishwater blonde my whole life. Now it looks really dark because of the gray and the white that's growing in it. But it was too much. So I decided to go for a pixie cut, and man, I felt like a boy. I didn't like that feeling of, like, at first it was like, yeah, pixie cut, I feel fresh and new. And then after a while, when the pixie cut was growing out and I just looked bushy, I was like, I hate this. So then I went to wigs. So now I don't have to do wigs so much anymore. And now I miss my red hair, but I completely get it. Hair is a thing for most people. And yeah, but I thought about it. Like, what would I do? And I would shave it.
Boxing goes, for the defense fund, First Amendment all the way. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jennifer. First Amendment all the way, indeed. Gilly Girl sent $10, goes, journalism Jesus saves the Commonwealth. Ooh, I like that one. Thank you, Gilly Girl. Lorena sends $10, goes, Sasha, shut the fucking fan off. Is that her daughter? Shut the fan off there, Sasha. Turn it off. Okay. All right. If anyone else wants their messages read, click at the link at the top for Turtle Chat, or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy, and we can do it that way.
Yeah, that was really kind of Andrea C to send me that PayPal. I do have PayPal and Cash App. Yeah, she sent me a PayPal, and I'm not saying her last name. I don't know how to do these kind of things when you get like sent the money through the apps, because I don't want to like dox anybody, their names or anything. So I'm just calling her Andrea C. But this was her idea. She wanted me to cover a particular creator that we're about to get into. So if you ever want to do that, you can do that for me too. And it's absolutely not necessary. You can also put it in the comments. And but I've been getting a lot of comments. So I'm sorry if I haven't gotten to your comment quite yet.
End the night with some Lauren hidden true crime, shall we? Because this is always fun, isn't it? All right.
Is.
Here we go. Let's get back to Fat John here.
You call him Fat John, but not make fun of his hair. That's interesting.
Do I have to do it real quick? Hold on. I'll just do my makeup here.
That must be a guy thing. Okay, he's putting the eyebrows on. Here we go.
Not my best tonight. Usually this is in front of a mirror. It's a little better.
When I dyed my hair red, people would ask me if it was my real hair, because I'm
it's hard.
fair,
it's mirrored.
and I've got freckles that I kind of turned me into a little Irish girl.
Oh, wrong way.
But my background is Scottish.
So it's not my best tonight, but the brows have to come out. Let's do it. All right.
They gotta.
I can't stand the sound of this guy's voice.
Not only do I not care about the stalking injunction, but I'm going to intimidate you.
Oh, okay.
That is a pure message of power and control and dominance and intimidation. She's saying, I'm here. I don't care about this injunction. I am going to continue to intimidate and control you no matter what. Try and stop me. That's concerning. The mic drop moment I just mentioned.
Recording the police officer calling after somebody that was called by police implicated her. And so he decided to call her too. And that she called him back to record it.
Right. Recording the police officer, posting it online, and essentially not taking the police officer seriously. That's extremely oppositional. That's very antisocial.
I like your deep auburn, and I like your daughter's light. It's like it's still red, but it's also blonde. I forget, strawberry blonde. Those are both really pretty colors.
Antisocial feature.
Posting that.
Again, they're talking about how Christina called up. Can't stay. I gotta fix the brow. Whatever. It's all fucked up now. It's ruined. Anyway, that one wasn't connected. I got to use a mirror next time. But imagine saying that. So Christina, when she got this, like, when she was told when the police called her, she taped it herself on TikTok, talking to the cops, being like, so what's the crime? And the guy couldn't say it. And he's like, back talking a police officer, that's oppositional behavior. Okay.
I feel threatened in a message to her and then posting that online.
And all of this, by the way, so we're talking about risk factors.
Yeah, let's just talk.
We're talking risk factors, right?
Let's just talk.
All of these are risk factors, but they all lead to one thing, and that is dehumanization. What they're doing here is portraying you as evil, as the devil, even though Pinata Samurai doesn't mind if you're the devil, by the way.
Pinata
Not doing a 9.5 hour live where you label someone a stalker. That's not doing that, is it? What they're saying? I think it is. In fact, I know it is.
Pinata Samurai for acknowledging that apparently even the devil does really good work.
The devil does good work, but I will do my best to not be like that.
Okay, very funny.
All of this leads to dehumanization. And
I thought about this in this way. I thought, like, if Lauren came at us in a different way and hadn't said that she had a stalker, that she had somebody defaming her on the internet, I think I would be looking at this completely differently too. I think the whole internet, if she had just called it for what it was and started, instead of trying to go through the backdoor legal way of handling this situation, I don't know. I think it would be a completely different situation.
I know every crime we've ever covered involves some level of dehumanization.
Absolutely, that is crime. Dehumanization.
And all of this is about dehumanizing you. Even the people that are mocking you, the memes, it's all dehumanizing, right? But they don't care, right? So, which is fine.
Which is fine.
It's fine. I don't think it's really fine.
I've been giving people some good content.
Yeah.
A 9-hour live would do that.
So I think we've come to the end of this segment.
Okay.
I've covered why I think this is a risk. I've covered why it shouldn't be dismissed and taken seriously. It's virtuous violence. It's a moral crusade, right? I've covered some of the risk factors, but let's back up a little bit and talk about both the definition of stalking and the psychology of stalking, because I think those are going to help us go a little deeper here.
Okay.
But before I do, I just want to make the final point that the reason why human beings like to engage in moral crusades is because it really...
So just keep in mind, for the last 2 hours tonight, we watched a very traumatizing video about what I went through on Christmas Eve, but it pales in comparison to what Lauren Hidden True Crime went through, because there's somebody making TikToks that are critical of her. So God bless her.
Simplifies the world.
Yes.
And it also fosters conflict.
And I think that's one of the points that many of us have made on here, is that have they really gone through that much in this life that this is what they come forward with and tell us that's happening? And then to compare yourself to actual crime victims like JJ, Tylee, Charles. It's just the outrage for me. It's outrageous.
So for those of you out there who know a little bit about philosophy, if any of you read Nietzsche on Good and Evil, you understand the importance of Nietzsche's idea that all morality is essentially an attempt to foster...
When did he die? Just today or yesterday?
And maintain social norms and social moral systems, because the prevailing ruling classes do not want challenges or change. And by enforcing an existing system of morality, you're also making the world fit into a very narrow box, right? And so that's one of the problems of a moral crusade, is that if you don't fit within that box, then you're going to be vilified, right? And so you became vilified. As we talked about on our Patreon,
this is their big move now, is that they're being vilified. They're the villains now. Everybody's turned on them. They're the punching bags of the internet now. They're the villains. They're misunderstood. Nobody gets it. I feel like I wish I had that sound clip of Jay's. I'm gonna go eat some worms.
Declarations. The TikToker made it very clear that conformity was a big part of this issue.
Yeah. That was actually in their declaration, and sort of the little joke that I made on our Patreon exclusive episode, which is no longer Patreon exclusive thing. So picked it apart and shared it. But in their declaration, their angst against me, or one of the things that upset me, was that I talked about how I don't like to conform. And then I jokingly said, thanks for being a Patreon supporter, because that particular episode was behind a paywall, which meant that someone was paying and sending that on to them. But it was ironic, because you've always talked about the fact that one reason this type of thing happens is because they're upset that I'm not conforming.
I talked about the classic example of the Salem witch trials from 1692, where obviously witches are seen as an abomination. They're seen as demonic, right? They're seen as separate from the community, not conforming to the community's morals, right? So in many ways, the Salem witch trials were they showed similarities to a moral crusade. And we'll talk about that a little later. We won't get into that too much, but so I want to make that point before we move on, because I want people to understand the purpose of a moral crusade and what it does, how it fosters conformity, or attempts to, and how it really oversimplifies the world, so that people that they don't have to grasp with the.
Oops. I think he has his mic silenced.
They don't have to grapple with the complexity of someone who's maybe a little more complex.
Okay, but let's move on. So that is a male perspective. Another male perspective is PD Questions, and this was the channel that was recommended to me. I did take a quick peek at it yesterday, and looked at some of the videos. You can see that I listened to some of it. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna take a closer look at Lauren's 9-hour stalker video.
Thanks for watching. Okay, so in the last video that I did, I was focusing mostly on Lauren and John's double down video. Okay, the double down video is a reference to Lauren's actual 9 hours.
It's actually the video I want to look at. I want to do the double down one because Dr. John is in the double down one. So hold on a second, you guys.
Okay, so I was going to say this is going to be a really hard video for me to make, but actually I don't think this has to be a hard issue to address. And I don't even think this has to be a big deal. And it's funny because I was actually making a mildly critical video, mildly critical of hidden true crime for something totally unrelated. And I had seen Lauren's 9-hour, or I saw parts of, the 9-hour.
Okay. I will say that it did annoy me that this channel doesn't let you move their stream faster. You've got to stay at the one speed. That is annoying to me.
Alleged stalker. And, to be honest, I had two feelings about it. First of all, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, to be honest. It seemed like something, I didn't think anybody was really in danger at the time. And I thought, well, even though I didn't take it seriously as like hardcore stalking, at the same time, I thought, well, if Lauren needs to sort of ventilate just to get it out, then let her get it out and we can just move on, But then I was really surprised. I was surprised when the gods of the internet started picking this up, and Turtle Boy came in. And then at that point, I thought, wow, this has really become a big deal. But then I thought, well, now Lauren's famous, so it can only help them. And then last night.
Okay, well, I've got to stop and address this. It says, Amy, your page in this topic does exactly what you are opposed to: online trauma for views. Have a say in one video and move on. I highly disagree with that. I am somebody who I talk over and over again about. I am a person that is interested in the psychology and the sociology of people. It is my background. I dig into things until I'm done digging into it, and I look at it for what it is. If I wanted to do trauma, I would do this every single day. I would do it live multiple times a day. I'm getting great success on doing this. And if I wanted to drive this bus over the cliff and do a Thelma and Louise, that's what I would do, but I'm not. I am thinking and I'm pacing myself and I'm thinking about the case and I'm saying how I feel it is. And that's just exactly what I'm doing. And if you're not here for it, then you don't have to be here for it. There are other channels that are talking about other things. So that's how I see what I'm doing on it.
They came on with this like doubling down, and I thought really kind of delusional.
My opinion is the reason that they've gotten away with all of this for so long is because people choose, like, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to be drama. I'm not going to be involved in it. But when is it going to be enough is enough? And when do we start calling out a spade and say, we're done with it, we're over with it? And I have a right to talk about it until I'm done talking about it. You have a right to talk about it till you're done talking about it. Everybody has a right to do what they want to do. I'm not out here harming people. I don't wake up in the morning and say, how can I destroy hidden true crime today? No, I'm here thinking, how can they manage this? How can they make a right or wrong? What can they do to make this better for themselves? And what can we do? Anyway, no, I mean, it's a fair question, actually. And I answered it, so I'm not going to hammer it home, but I really feel that way about it.
Offensive podcast last night, and I thought, wow, this is really an issue, you know. And you know, I mean, look, these are people that I care about. I really care about hidden true crime. These are people that I really respect. I still respect them. And so I was just thinking today, you know, how can we make sense of this? I mean, clearly it was a delusional, defensive, immature doubling down. I think everybody knows that nobody has been in actual danger. And I think it's probably not that hard. You know, I do have a legal background, so I could probably provide a little insight on why I don't think it's that big of a deal. But it's clearly a big deal for both Lauren and John. I mean, let's at least respect that. In their subjective position, which is maybe hard to watch because I think we all see them as being very privileged and relatively the powerful people here. But, you know, in their subjectivity, you know, in their honest place where they are, they feel like it's a huge deal, and they actually feel like they're in danger, you know. So, you know, I think the best place to start in all of these analyses is to take seriously how people see things from their point of view. Okay, and that's exactly what I thought maybe Hidden True Crime did not do very well in analyzing, you know, the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, is that, you know, and I've struggled with this too, but you know, at some point, if you really want to analyze, you really have to take very seriously how people see things from their point of view, even if you think it's crazy. But you have to start there, you know. But there is clearly a problem at this point. Okay,
It's
and I think
clearly a problem, and it's,
and
you know, there's always going to be people defending. I mean, there's people out there defending Brian Koberger. I mean, there's people out there that are defending Sarah Boone. I mean, there's just always people that are going to do it. And I'm just really at that point where it's all out there. And if you still are defending them, then nothing I can possibly say here is going to sway you, I don't think, at this point. And so I've learned not to hit my head against a wall anymore. I used to like to fight for the fight of it, but it takes the piss out of me. I'm not going to lie. It takes my energy. So, yeah, you can think what you want to think. My life is still going to go around. I'm still going to wake up. I'm still going to talk about what I want to talk about. I'm still going to do what I want to do. I'm at that age in my life. I'm that woman. I'm a woman of a certain age where I'm starting not to give a fuck. So those are kind of maybe dangerous people to deal with, and then I'm a Gen X on top of it. So, and yeah, nobody was there for me when there was very few people there for me when I was at my worst, and I'm coming out of that period of time. And when you get down to your worst, you realize, like, I'm not going to live my life for you anymore. Like, I'm living it for me, because I got about 30, 40 good years left in me. And the first 30, 40 went by so fast. So, my message is for all of you. I say it, put you first. I don't even say put your family and your kids and like God and all of that. No, put you first, because if you don't put you first, then you can't put God first. You can't put your kids first. I mean, maybe I say, like, I think maybe you should put you and God together, because I am that spiritual person who I think there's something out there and we're all connected. So maybe just put you together if, you know, like just I'm that person, but you first, my friends, you, because in the end, you were born alone and you're going to die alone. Like wherever you go, wherever you came from alone. And wherever you're going to go to, you're going to alone. So as much as I love the people that love me and I'm so grateful for them, and I've learned who those people are, when you get sick, you learn who the real friends and people, like you learn when your life falls apart, and it falls apart for an extended period of time where like your life is so falling apart that the people that love you think that maybe you're not coming back from it. And I thought the same too, like maybe I'm not coming back from this time. Those, and they still stay around. Those are the people that matter. Nobody else matters. So I learned, and you're talking to someone who's suffered some heavy trauma in the last 10 years. And I said, if I was going to come back from this, I was going to do it my way. It was going to be a beautiful life. And MF, that's what I'm doing.
Sadly, okay, this is the sad thing. When it comes to like the podcasting world, I think the podcasting world is very welcoming to people who are very eccentric, okay? And I can say that because I think I'm maybe even more eccentric than Lauren and John, okay? Because
Really?
I'll be honest with you guys, okay? I have been diagnosed with a real personality disorder, okay?
Oh.
I've struggled with it and I hate it. And it's been a really hard life.
Wonder what it is.
And I've lost a lot, and I've had to, eat mud basically for a long time. And I don't know that I'll ever really be a normal person. You know, a lot of people don't know. I have to live a very low stress life, not to lose
like
my sanity, so to speak. If I
sounds like me. I cannot let stress and drama and to me, this is not really drama. This is a psychological internet type issue that has swept across us that we all really should be evaluating if we're like, social media is here to stay and there is this but like when somebody will come to me and say, oh, this channel's talking about you. Okay, well, I mean, let them because I can't deal with that. I can't deal with the drama of somebody. Like I can't care what other people think about me anymore. Like I can't, because I can't get my life done if I do. And I come from an era where 70s, 80s, 90s, it mattered what other people thought. Like it was it was with it, cared, it mattered. And, you know, and we're coming into a new state of the world where really it is so full of judgment that it can't matter anymore, because it's just so judgmental that you've got to let that judgment fall. And I don't think Lauren and John, maybe they'll get to that point. Like maybe this is what's going to push them over the edge, where they're going to be one of those people where like they'll survive it and they'll come out stronger for it. But I've said this before, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, as horrible of a person as she is, I've learned something from her. With all the judgment that comes at that woman, somehow she still manages to get out of bed and show up and do her bullshit. So if somebody that evil and horrible can still do it, other people that have made mistakes or are just like trying to live their life, why can't they show up and do it too? And be like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just as good as you, you know? We're all the same. So that's the way I see it. And I think Dr. John and Lauren just expected, like they haven't moved forward in life where nobody wants to see somebody who's underhanded succeed anymore. Like Hollywood is dead. Nobody wants that anymore. Nobody's putting anybody up on a pedestal just because, right? And if you're evil and if you're doing underhanded things, they really don't want you up there. They can forgive you if you've done things in your past and you say, yeah, I did things in my past and that was messed up. And I think people could have forgiven you from this. But now I don't know. It's like, and reading their comments, I don't think it's possible. I don't think they're in that space where they think there's anything wrong with what they've done.
Much stress, or if I have too much intimidation or social anxiety or whatever, I can become a person that I don't want to be. You know what I mean? And so I think the first thing we have to do is we have to at least acknowledge that both Lauren and John have exposed themselves to a very high level of, I guess stress is not even the word. I can't even, like I could not, I could
couldn't
take
function.
20% of the stress that they go through, and I would
And
be already showing my symptoms.
if
and it
it's
would-
true and Lauren really does have MS, I mean, I've been really trying to look at her face, because although my fibromyalgia is the one that shows up most when I'm stressed, like the MS is like I walk into walls, and like, you know, I'm clumsy and I like lose my ability to walk and stuff like that with my MS. That's more my MS stuff. And my fibromyalgia is the stuff that makes me really stupid. Makes me really stupid and tired and foggy. And I didn't mean to come out saying that it makes me stupid, but it does make me stupid some days. Some days I just can't think, right? And that's what the fiber does to me. So I was just kind of looking at her face, because you can always tell when I'm having a flare. It's always in my face. So I've been trying to look at her face, but she just looks really stressed out in her last video to me.
Funny. Okay, so let's just start
Yeah,
there.
she
Okay,
does
let's
have it.
respect that they live in a world where the temperature and the intensity is very high. Okay, and so it's going to bring out things that are not that flattering. But you know, in the world of, like, say, YouTube podcasting, you don't have to be. I mean, come on, just look at Turtle Boy. Look at all the people out there. We're eccentric, imperfect, flawed people. Okay, there's a lot of eccentricity out there. There's probably a lot of immaturity out there. And, you know, the world will welcome you, and the world will be happy to have you if you're contributing something. Okay, so like there's no secret. I mean, come on, it would seem so impolite to say it, but you look at John and Lauren, and you can see their imperfections, you know. But we're just too polite, and we're just too gracious to even think about it. Really, I didn't let myself think about it too much, because all I saw them doing for years was just contributing.
True. I really didn't think too much about the way Lauren and Dr. John looked, but until they were put in front of me every single day and they were doing ridiculous stuff, their ridiculous appearance just started, like, and also I'm tired of people looking ridiculous, and I'm just supposed to be like, yeah, that's ridiculous looking in my mind, but I can't say it out loud. But yet, if I look ridiculous, I promise you someone's going to tell me I look ridiculous. So I don't know. And it used to be the time and age where you could laugh at stuff. Like, ridiculous stuff is funny.
You know, Lauren was just traveling all over Idaho and Utah and just interviewing people, you know, probably spending days and days without sleeping and, you know, just working her ass off.
Okay.
I mean, you have to respect that. And so, you know, if you could maybe spot some imperfections, or you think they're kind of eccentric or kind of weird people, you're not even gonna think about it, because it would just seem impolite. It would seem unkind. And frankly, they're doing a big service, you know. And so I miss the old Lauren. I miss how hard she worked interviewing so many people. And I wish she would go back and do that, because there are so many other cases where I'm sure there are lots of people to be interviewed. You know, how many people made
And honestly, the old Lauren didn't look so insane, in my opinion. Like, whatever she's done, like, I get it, being in front of a camera, and it's really hard for me when I do a live and I come on camera and I'm actually on camera, because all I want to do is look at myself the whole time, fix my hair. Like I notice the wrinkles on my face, or I notice this or that. So I just really think that maybe being in front of camera has really affected Lauren's body. Just, I'm sure she has some kind of body dysmorphia. That's gone in with her too many fillers or whatever. And getting older as a woman it's rough business. It's like keeping that glow in your face is like, it's almost it's getting harder and harder to keep that inner glow for whatever it is. Youth just has that inner glow, that skin, that youthful radiance. And I get it, but somebody said to me one time, you can look goofy as you age and do all that stuff to your face and be goofy looking, or you can just like accept it and like own it and age gracefully. And, you know, maybe do a little this and that. I'm not saying I don't. I do. put stuff in. I've done filler and but I don't do filler anymore. I do threads and focus on my collagen and building that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I'm actually pissed off that you're pissed off that I notice it, right? That's where I'm at in life. I'm mad that you're mad that I'm mad. All right.
Worked with Corey Richens when she worked at the Home Depot, or before she was married to her husband. Wouldn't it be cool to interview a bunch of those people and just kind of put together a big story, of where these people come from? So, there's still lots of work to be done, and I miss that part about Lauren, but at this point, sadly, their eccentricities. Like it's so wrong to point out eccentricities in people when all they're doing is just helping out and serving, But
Is
when
it
people
wrong? Why is it so wrong?
When their own eccentricities become the
why is it so wrong to point things out in people? Why is it so wrong to point out that somebody is of a different race? Because isn't that the spice of life, ethnicity and being a little bit different? And humans are creatures that are. We're built to notice things that are different. So what is so wrong? What's wrong is that you're putting wrong thoughts in my head for saying it. Like I'm just noticing something, but you're putting something like it's wrong, like for them to be that race. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that I'm noticing it. Right? Like I don't think it's the worst response to one of my questions that I hate is when you ask a question and people say, like, it's usually in a race question, or you might ask if, like, are they married to a man or a woman? And I get this response. Well, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. But it's an identifier for me. And it's a question that I'm asking. And you're putting a negative into this question where it's not negative. I'm just asking a question. When did disagreeing become hating? Because I can disagree with you and still not hate you, but I can still disagree with you. So 2 pet peeves of mine.
For like perpetrating injustice and doubling down on the injustice, then suddenly, unfortunately, their eccentricities
boring.
become.
And I have to tell you,
I
I'm
hate
one
to
of
say the
those
word.
people
It
that
becomes a
I'm
little bit.
into a room, and if it's somebody of a different race, a different country, a different something, I'm going to always end up talking to them. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At a party, I'm going to end up with the person that's the least different or the most different than everybody else, because that's what I'm drawn to. I am drawn to eccentrics. I'm drawn to something that's different than me. I've worked in environments where I was the only white person, and I was completely fine with it. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. If it's unique and a different experience, I'm down. I'm down for it. And so for me to ask these type of questions, like, you don't know my background. You don't know where I've come from. You don't know my study and my, part of, my emphasis in college was on African American studies. So I might ask something about that because I'm interested in it, right? It's not because it matters. It's because I'm interested. So I think people just need to relax a little bit.
Fair game. It becomes fair game. Although I will be very diplomatic about it. Okay, I'll be diplomatic about it because I'm not their friend. Okay, but that raises a huge question, major issue. Okay, when you get to a point in life where you have 4 attorneys, okay, which I don't know, do they need 4? Well, okay.
Do they need 4 attorneys?
Okay. Do they have 4 friends on the other side of those attorneys, like friends that can actually say to their faces in a non?
And are they like attorneys for different things, or like really do you need 4? Because I don't even think, I don't know. I don't want to be at that point where I need 4 attorneys. Because I was also thinking too, with like great responsibility, with great success comes like much, the more success I get, the more I feel responsible to you guys. And how did they get to the point where they had over 300,000 people and they didn't feel like she didn't feel any type of responsibility to keep her victims secrets their secrets, and not to start comparing yourself to these people, and not to start talking behind other people's backs. Like, where did that go wrong?
Way, you're being an asshole, or you're being full of shit. You know, do they have friends like that? Because if you don't have friends like that, you don't have friends. Okay, a real friend knows
They must have
your
yes men. Like, I mean, look at
knows your dark side.
Look at Grayson. They just surround themselves with the yes mens and the yeah buts, the yeah butters and the yes mens.
Can call it out to your face, and you're not going to be freaked out by that. That's what a real friend is. So, what are the two elements of a real friend? Two elements of a real friend are that they are not afraid to say, or they're able to look to your face and tell you all your nasty, embarrassing stuff to your face. But they're not a real friend until you, as a person, can accept what they're saying to your face. Okay, and if that doesn't happen, the both together, you might say you don't have any friends. Okay, so I'm not declaring that, but I wonder if either Lauren or John have real friends.
I wonder that about them too. Like, who, we know Grayson isn't. Like, it seems like Grayson's the only one that's surrounding them. I can't even think who Dr. John's friend is. Does Dr. John have any friends? Or is he one of those people that all of his wife's friends are his friends?
Sycophantic followers. Okay, yes, there will always be sycophantic followers. Okay, but if we're not living in North Korea, okay, and we don't want to live in North Korea even by accident. Okay, you don't want to become the Kim Jong-il of your little domain. Okay, which can happen, but you don't want that to happen. Okay, if it does happen, you need to go get a psychologist. Even John, you know, he needs to get a psychologist. Yeah, and he needs to confess everything. Okay, and then just rearrange his life so that he has friends, or he has the feedback, you know. Yeah, get some friends.
This is the section, if they started taking this type of advice, that I think they could turn it around. Like, I think they could turn the bus around if they did this, but I don't think they're willing to do this.
You know, however hard that is, even if that is the, even if that becomes the Odyssey of Hercules, you need to get some friends, okay? Because one person by themselves in a stressful environment cannot check themselves. The human conscience is not that powerful. Okay, so I can't stand all these people that say, oh, I have empathy, I have a conscience, so therefore I'm in full control. No, you're not. You're not. You can have all the empathy you want. And in fact, if you have too much empathy, your judgment is probably going downhill, because you become this infantile, super sensitive snowflake.
Yes.
And then
I became that at one point, where my empathy became so strong that it was hard for me to make a decision. But I mean, that comes with a lot of trauma and stuff. And when you're growing, and I don't know, I think Dr. John, that's great advice. Dr. John definitely would benefit from seeing somebody, a psychologist. I mean, I'm shocked that he's not. But okay, so let's move on, and let's take it over to Duty Ron. So Duty Ron had a video that he did 2 weeks ago. Let me just see if he's done any updates. Just really quick. Or if he has any clips of it. He didn't even clip it. Let's see. He didn't make the live into a clip. Let me see if he did any shorts. No. Oh, wait. Here's one.
Where I'm realizing that just that alone is a violent act. Like, when you have a problem with somebody from the past, and they're calling them and they're instigating their anger, and then it got very scary.
Okay, you know, for people saying that, oh, this isn't restraining order stuff, that this is just mean girl behavior. Well, I'm sorry, this is beyond mean girl behavior. They have crossed the line into the criminality.
And whenever people are saying this, I feel like hidden true crime has now crossed the line into criminality. I feel like they could be easily talking about hidden true crime.
Okay, constant threats, emails, text, videos, and so forth. The crime there would be aggravated harassment.
Yes.
Okay, contacting other people and from the past that may have had a beef with Lauren and so forth. Now we start getting into aggravated harassment and conspiracy. Okay, then making any type of threat over the internet, besides, is a federal crime. And we're talking about making terroristic threats.
So that is the only thing that he clipped from that. Let me see if he did any post. Well, we're in the 1 day. We got to get down to the 9 days. 4 days. 6 days. Sorry to hear that he's having some bad health too, by the way. I've noticed that. Like, no, he's just not talking about it. So, but the live is up. We're going to take a peek at some of the live and we'll go from there. And then we'll go into the victims of the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with Duty Ron and Ed Wallace. You guys know the drill. We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you get all things Duty Ron and this guy right here, Ed Wallace.
What is going on with people not letting people speed through it? It's so annoying. Ugh. Is this something new? I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with Duty Ron and Ed Wallace. You guys know the drill.
We're going to skip around. They also have it where, oh, no, they don't. Okay. Let's move it forward and get it to what they say. Let's listen to what they have to say before she comes on.
We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you get all things Duty Ron and this guy right here, Ed Wallace, when we go live or upload another video. Hey, tonight we want to talk about a subject that is very, very, it's a very dangerous topic. And we want to touch on this topic because it involves a good friend of ours, hidden true crime law.
It's a great topic. It's a topic that needed to be discussed, but it's much like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation where the person that is claiming being perpetrated is actually the perpetrator as well.
Lauren Mathias and her family. Cyber stalking and bullying and the like online. We have touched on this in the past, Ed. We did live streams for a lot of other creators who have been experiencing this, but we know that it happens to the everyday Joe citizen. Everyday guys, gals get stalked and harassed online on a regular basis. Doesn't matter if it's YouTube, doesn't matter if it's TikTok, whatever the platform.
And we are setting up some lives and videos where we're going to talk to people that have been stalked in this way on the internet, and we're going to discuss stalking and
actions have serious consequences sometimes, and sometimes people lose their lives based on the harassment, stalking,
absolutely,
and the rhetoric that gets.
Absolutely, they do. They do. And I am never trying to minimize that, but I don't see this in this situation.
Fired up in between the conversations on Twitter and Instagram and X, and stories get twisted, and people that are somewhat angry with the particular creator or person could now be pushed over onto the other side of that fence. Ed, I want you to talk a little bit about, what we're going to get into with our good friend Lauren from Hidden True Crime tonight. She's going to be joining us in a few minutes, Ed. Whoops. I did that wrong, Ed. Where did you go?
And he's letting us know that Lauren is from Hidden True Crime. There, it's his good friend. So he's, kind of greasing the wheels for Lauren here.
There you go. Go ahead, Ed.
I can't stand bullying of any
I
kind.
can't either.
Whether it's kids at school, online, cyberbullying, whatever you want to call it. I have no place for that in my stomach. I cannot stand that. Okay. And nothing gets me more riled up than when parents of children who are bullies start bullying children as well. But there's bullying and then there's stalking. No, these are two different things, but you can do both and be both, okay, at the same time. But now you're getting into the world of Ron and I, and we're going to be giving you our perspectives as retired New York City detectives of how we had to deal with things like this in our careers, where women had to go and get orders of protection from our courts to help protect them from stalkers, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands.
Absolutely. And that's something that I did. I was a legal advocate. I worked at a domestic place. I was the in-shelter legal advocate, so I would help the people fill it out. If the person that was at the court wasn't there, I went to the court with them. Absolutely.
Okay, things of that nature. And remember, I always tell you, stay prepared, stay safe, and watch your six. And it's for a reason, okay? Even though you get these orders of protection, they're just paper, okay?
While you're getting these order of protection and afterwards, it's your most dangerous time. So it seems weird to me that Lauren would show up to a place where she knew her stalker was going to be one of her most dangerous times, and that she would remove that order of protection after going to court, hearing that it wasn't going to work in her way, her most dangerous time. And she's fine. She's going to take it to the internet. She's going to take it to the YouTube streets and let us handle this. And she don't like how we're handling it. So, but she's in danger, you guys. But she suddenly doesn't need this order of protection.
Still have to take the appropriate protective actions for yourself and your family against these people. Now, when we were all kids, we can all remember this and relate to it. When we were all kids in school before the internet, okay, you had a bully at school. Well, there was a break from that bully after school was over and you went home typically, okay? And you had your core group of friends in your neighborhood and that's where you hung out. And typically the bully wasn't in your neighborhood and was someplace else. So you had that break. It wasn't 24/7, 365, now as it is today with the advent of social media and the internet, okay? People...
We covered some of the court audio in the very beginning. The day I wanted to do that was the day that Sleuthy Goosey was having a problem on our site. So we do need to reschedule that and go through and listen and read all of those documents again. Because I have, honestly, in my mind, I get the restaurant situation where Joe Schmo was there. I get that mixed in. I know I don't have that in the correct order of events. So I do need to re-listen and schedule a time where we do that. Maybe there are other content creators that I want to do some panels with this week that I'm going to reach out to them. But I just wanted to get this one done. I'm coming out of a time, like I was having a mini flare and I was tired and I was sleeping all the time. So it's really hard for me to reach out to people when I'm like that. But I'm coming out of that. So I am going to set up some panels for you guys, for other content creators to join us, and we'll talk about that some more.
You know, the people that are doing this, you are playing a very dangerous game. And a lot of what you're doing is criminal. And you have to be made aware of that your actions comes with consequences. Okay. I've locked up numerous people for violating orders of protection in my career. Okay. And what I'm seeing here is very disturbing.
Yeah, it's troubling in many different ways, Ed. And, we look at many public figures. We have politicians who have been killed in recent history. We had political figures like Charlie Kirk as well.
Is this where she got the idea to compare? When did she compare herself to Charlie Kirk? Or did she give them this idea? Did she compare herself to Charlie Kirk during the 9.5 hour one, or was it during the rebuttal? I can't remember.
Shot and killed all over rhetoric and violent conversations of hate. And it doesn't matter if it's moderate or strong hate. Anytime you're spewing negative things about people on.
So they're getting this from her. Interesting. They're getting the Charlie Kirk analogy, unless she talked to them about before she went live. I mean, there's that possibility too, but they're carrying on the Charlie Kirk analogy.
On social media, there's always people who will follow that lead. Listen, this is, again, this is not something that's directly affecting us, but I could tell you that in my inbox on dutyron.com at any given time, we get hate. We get people who say, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying. I don't like what you're saying. I don't like what you did. We, at my place of business where I work, we fire people on a regular basis. People get hired and people get fired. And in this case with our good friend Lauren, it seems like it was a business associate that was also mixed in with some type of friendship. And we're going to let Lauren Mathias from Hidden True Crime tell that story. She did it in a long 9-hour marathon. It was emotional. You listen to different aspects of it. And some people, Ed, everyone perceives things differently. There are some people in the chat and some people online that said, I listened to 9 hours of Lauren and I got nothing out of it. Well, and then there's other people who say, I listened to Lauren for 9 hours and I got a lot out of it. So I wanted to host her because I told her, listen, we stand with you, because I have personally taken orders of protections out of people's pockets after they were killed.
Yeah.
I've responded to a domestic.
I think the problem is that they stood with her a little too early. They didn't get both sides of the situation. Do they do a wrap up? Let's skip to the end and see what their wrap up statements are.
Thank you for spending your valuable time with us here. We know you can get your true crime fix anywhere you like on the internet, but this is a more serious issue than our standard cases that we normally do. And thank you for supporting Lauren. And please pray for sanity, okay? And bring this, our nation back to a sound and sane footing again. And as I said earlier, you don't have to accept what Ron and I say or anybody says, but you can respectfully agree to disagree.
They get it wrong all the time, time. They look at the people that are victimizing the victims, and the victim might not look like the innocent type, or right, and the victimizers could look like Lauren and John and pull their professional air. It happens all the time.
And it shouldn't bring about violence of any kind. It shouldn't bring about stalking. It shouldn't bring about harassing or making threats. Okay, definitely shouldn't bring about murder. Okay, because you don't agree with what somebody has to say. That's just crazy. It's just not normal. Okay. Well, thanks again, folks.
Thank you.
Not sure.
Thank you, guys. Lauren, we'll speak soon. I'll keep in touch with you.
98% of the time, but I mean, I don't know the statistics. I haven't looked them up, but I know in my life things have gotten wrong. And I come from my stepfather was actually an ex-police officer, so I know the good old boy network is alive and well. And then he retired. When he retired as a police officer, he worked as a bodyguard. So I know that world. I know it. Okay, so that's all I can really stomach from that. We watched the beginning and the ending. And so what do you guys think about Duty Ron? I think he got it wrong. I think he jumped too quick. In looking at his page, he's not cutting and clipping this video, and there's just one quick short on it. And the video was, how long did he have her on for? Like almost an hour and a half. So it was an hour and 22 minutes. So no, they don't. The way he said disagreeing with someone online shouldn't bring threats of schmurder makes it sound like Christina threatened them with schmurder, which she didn't. And he also said that constantly emailing somebody, which Christina didn't do that either. The stuff that they are accusing her of doing, she made a small TikTok account and might have told some juicy friend details that she shouldn't have told. That's what she did. And I'm someone who doesn't minimize pain and trauma. And up until, I swear, up until Amber Heard and these recent like people that come out and they're, you know, like the Me Too and the women that were like actually not, they were the actual perpetrators and they were using this, you know, I was disgusted. I was like, this is the day and age that we're in. And, you know, after Gypsy Rose, I believed Gypsy Rose too. And then after I heard her story, I'm like, so now it's just, we're in a day and age where we have to question it because there's liars out there. People lie to forward their agenda. It is what it is. We're never going back to I don't even think that ever existed, that people were always doing that. We were just in the dark about it. I don't like he said at the very end, you know, like get America back to what it was. Well, you know, the America was the good old boy network. I'm sorry. It really was. It really was. We do need to figure out something with our morals and values. But I mean, the old ways are gone and you're like, nostalgia is wonderful, but it's just not coming back in the way that you seem to want it to come back because people have grown, evolved. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. So just move forward. And how about you be a good person and it start with you? Start with you first. Look at yourself. I don't know. I'm on my soapbox today. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I don't mean to do this, but these are all things that have been really bothering me in society, and I guess it's like given me a way to talk about it. So it's another thing. Thank you, Lauren, for giving me this open door to talk about this, because I think it's something, a dialogue that we all need to start having with one another, because the world is crazy. I think we can all agree that the world is crazy. In every country, it's crazy. And we need to start talking about the things that people think that we shouldn't talk about. And so I want to take it back to the victims of this, because one of the most disgusting things in all of this, in my opinion, is the fact that she brought the names of the victims into this disgusting thing. But before we get into that, I just want to say that I am so grateful for all of the new memberships, the Dragonflies, all the supers and gifts that you guys have been sending my way. I'm just really, really appreciative of all of that. I haven't been able to figure out, like, I love how Jay has it where when the new person joins the membership program, it just pops up and, you know, you welcome them. I've tried to put that widget on here a million times and I can't seem to do it. So I'm just going to pop us over there and say, thank you. These are all the new Dragonflies that have joined. And I just want to say a huge shout out and thank you to all of them. I promise you, I will figure it out and get a widget up there and thank all of you for becoming a Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is the membership program that we have over on the YouTube program. Let me move myself out of the way. These are all the new Dragonflies. Thank you so much for being here. I do put you up in the intro and outro, and or sometimes I do it in both, and sometimes I do it in one or the other. But thank you to all of the new Dragonflies, all of the OG Dragonflies. Thank you so much for being here and supporting our channel. It means the world to me. Here, let me show you a little something that I made about the Dragonfly program, if I can find it. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a Dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my Dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the Dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you. So before we get started, if we can do that algorithm dance party that I like to do, to start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. We're coming to you today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Hey y'all, how you doing? Giving me the thumbs up just helps us dance out into the algorithm, party out there, find more interesting people, bring them back to our safe space where we like to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of snark, but we do it in a way that is all kind and respectful to one another, I would say. And I would hope. I really aim for that. So thank you. I put the link in the chat and put it up on screen. I'll put it over in the show notes. And so thank you if you decide to join. I am trying to think of new things for the Dragonflies too. So if you have any good ideas, let me know. All right, so I want to go into remembering the victims of this tragedy. Oh, no, bite the little birdie's biting my tootsies. Oh, Junie, no bite the tootsies. Mommy's almost done. I promise. Okay. So we have the victims: Charles Vallow, date of death July 11th, 2019, location Chandler, Arizona. The cause: he was shot by Alex Cox, Lori's brother, during what Lori claimed was self-defense. Investigators later determined it was murder. Tylee Ryan, Lori's daughter, age 16, date of death and disappearance September 8th, 2019. Last seen Yellowstone National Park with Lori, Alex Cox, and JJ. Remains found June 9th, 2020 on Chad Daybell's property in Rexburg, Idaho. Joshua J.J. Vallow, Lori and Charles' adopted son, age 7. Date of death and disappearance, September 22nd, 2019. Last seen at home in Rexburg with Alex Cox, later seen carrying him. Remains found June 9th, 2020 on Chad Daybell's property near Tylee's. Then there's Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, date of death October 19th, 2019. And the location was Salem, Idaho. The initially reported cause was natural causes, later determined homicide by asphyxiation. So those are who we are honoring in these last few moments of this live. I wanted to take a look at the victim's sister screams at Lori Vallow before sentencing. This is Kay.
Your Honor, I stand before you today to honor Charles, my big brother. This courtroom is where Charles finally receives the justice he fought for and never saw in life. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Charles was more than my brother. He was the backbone of our family. He was steady, loyal, and endlessly generous. He was the kind of man who showed up for everyone without ever asking for anything in return. When you walked into the room with Charles, you felt safe, you felt valued, and that's what makes this all so unbearable, because the very person who should have cherished him the most, his own wife, betrayed him in the cruelest, most calculated way imaginable. Charles was a protector by nature, the man who would give you the shirt off his back and then ask what else he could do to help. He loved fiercely, laughed easily, and built his life around the simple but powerful values of family, faith, and hard work. It feels right that this trial comes after those for JJ, Tylee, and Tammy, because he was a true Southern gentleman. I know he would have told us to take care of them first. Lori, first let me say this. Charles is not your husband. I can't do that. Okay. Sorry. Charles is not your husband. Your disgusting co-monster, Chad, is. The Miss Texas pageant, Wheel of Fortune, Extra on Modern Family, July 31st, 2023. What do they all have in common? They're all days that failed to make you famous or idolized. Infamous? Yes, but never famous, never idolized. You spent your entire life chasing cameras, applause, and validation like oxygen, but here you are, exposed, convicted, stripped of the lies you wrapped yourself in. All your interviews, all your attempts to manipulate, triangulate, and control the narrative, even the one released just last night, have failed. The world sees what I saw in 2019 when you abandoned Charles, Colby, Tylee, and JJ to chase that grotesque shadow of a man, Chad Daybell. You call yourself a mother, a wife, a woman of God. You are none of these things. You are a liar, a fraud, and a murderer. Did you think you could charm your way out of this? Do you believe people can't see through the lies? Do you honestly think that you are smarter, holier, or more special than everyone else? You are not. You are an ordinary, plain, run-of-the-mill, middle-aged woman. You keep saying to anyone who will listen that no one understands because they weren't there. So tell me, Lori, what don't we understand? Was it you who shot Charles? Is that why you kept asking during the trial about testing your hands for gunshot residue? Was that your grotesque way of gloating? You murdered Charles. You confessed to the conspiracy. Do you think we all missed that? You took his phone and played a childish game of keep away and then tried to sell the world that this was a good reason for Alex or you to shoot him. And every single one of us sitting in this courtroom saw right through it. That day started a domino effect, except you tipped the first domino and you kept those dominoes falling until everyone was dead. Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, and the wake of devastation you left for Colby, for our entire families, and for an entire community who watched your evil unfold. You asked me during the trial where I was when Charles was murdered. You asked almost every witness if they were there or if they saw with their eyes.
Yeah, I'm quite shocked that they haven't taken it down either, because we're just the first wave of creators to cover this. There's going to be a new wave after this. Like, this isn't going away, and I'm surprised that they're leaving it up. But of course, I think they're getting heavily monetized by it. We did go over the monetization, and there's a video that was done that covers the monetization of that 9-hour live, the follow-up lives, and then just their channel in general. So there's that out there. If you're interested in that. That was the last live that we did.
Heard with their ears, you and Alex conspiring to murder my brother. No, we weren't, but you're right. As much as I hate to utter those words, and if you are to be believed, neither were you. How dare you desecrate the memory of Charles and your children the way you did their bodies? How dare you blame them for your crimes? We all know what happened, Lori. There is no denying it. We've sat in courtrooms, seen the evidence, seen the wreckage you caused. We have listened to the truth tellers. Nothing is taken out of context. Your land of make-believe is just transparent. The facts and the science don't play games. They tell the truth, how many times Charles was shot, at what angles, and how long he'd been dead before 911 was called. The 47 minutes. Because you were busy trying to manufacture an alibi. Science doesn't lie. You do. Detectives, prosecutors, jurors, advocates, the men and women who had to bear witness to this horror, please stand. Chuck Considas, Eric Wheeler, Ron Ball, Ray Hermosillo.
Interesting that she's allowed to turn to them, but she's not allowed to turn and look at Lori, which is quite disgusting.
They are from Rexburg, Idaho, and they were key in bringing justice to you. Thank you, guys.
That's a sign of a decent person. She's like giving credit to the people that did something for her family.
These individuals bear the weight of directly confronting your actions. They took that burden home to their spouses, children, and sleepless nights. They endured tragedy. You didn't just take our loved ones. You sparked a tragedy that now affects countless families. They understand. They were there, and they worked tirelessly to bring you to justice. Chandler PD never believed your bullshit. They didn't charge you immediately because they were busy untangling your web of deception.
I chose to do this when with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I blocked off all of her social sites and decided that I wasn't going to give that woman a dime of my clicks and views. So I go to my favorite content creators and do that. So I really appreciate you doing that. And I can't tell you guys what to do, but if you don't want to give them another penny, that would be my suggestion. I don't even like clicking on her lives, her videos. I do one click and I don't really play anything. I just go into the comments and on her newer ones, because I wasn't watching her before. I'm not interested in her now.
So you can continue making claims that no one understands because we weren't there. But make no mistake, we stand perfectly.
Although I did find a live of me when I did cover her stuff. I was covering the craziest things that happened in the Delphi case, and she popped up. I managed. I didn't even talk about the way she looked or anything like that. I think I did say I don't watch her, but that's all I really said. I was like, oh. I knew I'd seen her around, and I knew I knew who she was. I couldn't have told you her name or where she was from, but I knew she had a true crime channel with her husband that was in psychology of some way.
We understand premeditation. We understand conspiracy. We understand fraud, insurance policies, and false alibis. We understand how long bodies lay in the ground while you danced, vacationed, and manipulated for attention. We understand the cost, emotional, financial, spiritual, that all of us have paid to clean up the wreckage of your delusion. Therapy, lost work, trauma, panic attacks, courtrooms and funerals, ashes and empty chairs. You are so selfish, so pathologically self-centered that you can't even see the shockwaves you created in every life around you. Webster's dictionary defines tragedy as a disastrous event. What happened to my family is precisely that, a series of disastrous events, each one engineered by you. You and Chad built a religion of narcissism, two people drunk on the fantasy of being special, chosen, above the law, above humanity itself. You labeled people as dark to justify murder. You wrapped evil in scripture and called it faith. You and Chad murdered your children and spouses and then hid behind a veil of lies. You are not exalted. You are not translated. You are a manipulator, a parasite, and a coward. You have no remorse. Your deflection is disgusting. Your interviews are manipulative. Your faith is counterfeit. You still talk as if you're somehow misunderstood. No, wrong. You're fully understood. We see who you are, a manipulator, a liar, and a destroyer. And the worst thing is, Charles loved you. He protected you, and you repaid him with betrayal and bullets. You left him dead on the floor and then went shopping for flip-flops and a new life with your apocalyptic con man. You tried to erase him, stealing his phone, twisting the narrative, and lying to anyone who would listen. But the truth doesn't lie, Lori, and now the truth has destroyed you. Lori, you have noticed this courtroom is full. It's not because people admire you. It's not because they see instrument in God's hands. It's because you're a sideshow freak, a murderous carnival act. People come to gawk at the monster who thinks she's divine. They don't come to honor you. They come to witness the wreckage of your delusion and to see justice crush it.
Does this not sound familiar in certain aspects? Because this woman compares herself to Lori Vallow all the time. I think she likes to believe I think Lauren likes to believe that she's the good aspect of Lori. And it just really makes me wonder, like, because we know Lori came from a really weird family. And does Lauren come from a really weird family? And we know Lori had this weirdness with her brother, and we know there's this weirdness with Lauren. I just find, and now like, could these words from Kay, I mean, Kay's had some harsh words for Lauren, and the way that she put Charles and JJ and Tylee's name in her mouth in relation to all of this.
Always wanted an audience, but this audience isn't here to adore you. They are here to watch you fall, to watch you stripped of the spotlight you crave, to see your false crown ripped away. You are not a goddess. You are not chosen. You are not powerful. You just thought you could play God and win. The only legacy you leave is this: you will be remembered not as an instrument of God, but as a pitiful cautionary tale of evil and narcissism. Your life will end behind concrete and steel, while the world outside remembers JJ's smile, Tylee's strength, Charles's kindness, and Tammy's light. You will be forgotten, except as the sideshow act you've made of yourself, a monster who wanted to be worshipped, but who will only ever be pitied. But the legacy of Charles, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy is here in this courtroom, a new type of family built on love. Colby and his family, Tammy's family, the men and women who battled evil, all of us united, because as Charles said, love always wins. Finally, I want to say this: you once claimed that no one could judge you because they weren't there. Today, everyone is here, the court is here, justice is here, and now judgment has arrived. May this sentence be as permanent as the graves you filled.
It's so weird how alike it reminded me. That's why I thought, like, that necklace, that big chunky necklace that she was putting on, like, is that something Mormon? Because that was just horrible. And I thought, well, no, statement necklaces were a thing, so maybe she was putting it on because. And then I noticed when she got married, and those, like, no, statement necklaces were a thing, like, in 2016. Like, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's keep going. I want to take a peek at now what Tammy Daybell's sister has to say about her and her statement.
This is my statement. Over the last few years, I've often thought about what I would ever say to you, Lori. I've often thought about what my sister would have said too. The minute I found out that Chad had quickly remarried after the death of my most beloved sister, Tammy, it confirmed what I had always felt. You see, the minute I received the phone call that she had died, I knew something had happened to her, but I didn't know why I would feel that way. So when we were told by Chad that he had married you and that it had happened 2 weeks after Tammy had been buried, my heart knew. I researched you like any true woman would to find out who you were. What did I find? Lies. Everything about you that you tried to tell others is a lie.
I just want to go on the record and say this new feature of YouTube where you can block someone from speeding it up a little bit sucks.
At this point, I'm going to object. I don't believe this falls within the statute or within the Idaho Constitution or within Idaho versus Payne.
All right, Mr. Thomas, your objection is noted. It's overruled. The court will be able to consider and ferret out these statements and properly consider what's in the record. You can continue,
Thank
Ms.
you.
William.
We asked, what's her name? Who are you buying? Well, that was a lie. That was 2 husbands ago. So as I searched, what happened to your previous husband? She told us that he died from a heart attack. Lie. He died from being shot. I asked, are there children? I was told we will be empty nesters. That's a lie. The police ask us about missing children. You answer, the children aren't missing. They're safe and happy. It's a lie. Your children, your poor children, were dead and buried on Chad's property, and my sister was told was sick and her health was failing. Well, that was a lie. I had seen her with my own eyes 2 weeks prior. She was very healthy. We have to go through her being disinterred and having an autopsy done. Was glad to get some answers and some truth after so many lies. But to find out what we knew in our hearts all along, She had been murdered by those who saw her as an obstacle to a plan. You planned her murder just as much as you planned the murders of your own children and your previous husband. Why? Why plan something so heinous? You had an affair with a married man. You lied to yourself by what is okay to sneak behind the backs of your spouses. You are not exalted beings, and your behavior makes you ineligible to be one. But why pick Chad? He was an average guy, and you had married several men before him. He made you feel special and singled out. You tell yourself that you were high spiritual beings who have lived lives together through time. You felt powerful. This is too is a lie. But Chad has no real wealth. How will you live? You can easily have divorced your spouses and made your own perverted life together, but you need money. So you tell this story about people being dark and that they are zombies. This is how you justify who needs to be removed. You use this lie to justify the murders of 4 people whose deaths you profit from. But you could sit there and think, you've never met me and I don't know you. But I've always been able to tell when I am being lied to, and you are a liar, an adulteress, and a murderer. Because of the choices you made, my family lost a beloved mother, sister, aunt, and daughter. She is irreplaceable. She was 1,000 times the woman you will ever dream of being. Because of the choices you made, we have been hounded by media and those who revel in all of the salacious scandal you have stirred up. Because of you and your desire to get what you want at any cost, my family has been ripped apart. I helped raise Tammy's children. And because of you, they no longer have their mother or grandmother. And because of fear of losing another parent, they listen to the lies spewed by you and Chad. Our relationship is strained and most contact with them is gone. Your trial was the last thing my ailing mother had to live through. She declined in health as she heard through news reports all of the horrible things that happened, and she had to relive all the things we have tried to forget the last 4 years. My mother passed away in June, knowing that you will never come out of prison again. Her passing was marred by the fact that Tammy's children chose not to participate in her funeral because of fear of causing more drama. We were deprived of the chance to heal and have them realize how much we love them. We don't blame them for what happened, but we blame you and Chad for all the lies you've told and ripping apart this family. We didn't do anything. My parents are not evil. They did not deserve to lose their grandchildren on top of losing their daughter. I did not deserve to lose the relationships of children I helped raise, or a sister that was my dearest friend. I am not a dark person or a zombie, and for me and my family to be portrayed that way is unacceptable. Lucky for me, the world can see the truth as much as I can. Everyone now knows what liars you are. They now all know what horrible things you have done. You will have to live in your prison cell for the rest of your life. You are not an exalted being, and there's no huge event that is going to save you. No jail walls are going to fall so you can leave. No angels are coming to rescue you. You made judgments of others and determined if they should die based on the fact that they might do bad things and we need to kill them before they do. That is not how the atonement works. We cannot punish and judge others on things they haven't happened yet, but you did. You have also made choices that have led you here. You have been judged by the court and you have been found guilty. Your consequences are before you. I miss my sister every day. I will grieve her and now the loss of my mother for the rest of my life. I will always remember them. As for you, I choose to forget you. And as I leave this courtroom today, I choose to never think of you again. Thank you.
And Lauren hasn't gone as deep and dark into her narcissism as Lori has, but how far are you willing to drive this bus off the cliff is my question. Looking at all the money that you're making, how far are you willing to go? And I want to finish this with a victim that I believe is a victim that's walking this planet that they drug into this. Not a perfect victim, but a victim nonetheless. And that's Colby, Lori's son. And this is his statement on his brother and sister.
And brother disappeared until they were later found in Lori Vallow's new husband's backyard. My name is Colby Ryan. I'm the son of Charles Vallow, the brother of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. I'm here to tell you what I've lost. Not only are my father, sister, and brother gone, but so is my mother. Starting 6 years ago, the horror began. During the middle of my workday, I was alerted that my father had passed away from a heart attack. I spent the whole day at work in shock. I spoke to my mother and felt that I needed to come and stop by after my shift. After a long conversation, she hesitantly agreed. When I arrived at her house, I found out that what she had told me previously about the heart attack was not the case. My father had been shot and killed in what was labeled self-defense. I saw how my sister fell into my stomach with her emotions and sobbed. My brother JJ was asleep. Afterwards, I came home to my wife, and our young baby sat on the floor and completely broke down. My life would never be the same. My sister was caught up in the middle of this hell. She was only 16 years old. My little brother was barely 7. Within a few weeks, life continued to move quickly. My little brother, in just one day, had his father ripped away from him, and so did my sister. No matter how tough Tylee tried to be, she was scared, and I know she was scarred. She held a burden that no teenager should ever have to endure. My father, Charles Vallow, cared for his family. He took care of our family, and he made sure that we had a good life. He was a very generous man, and would give you the shirt off of his back. Here's the reality. In January 2019, I was told by my mother, Lori Vallow, that my father had been unfaithful to her for years. I was just shocked by this news, and Lori's actions sold the story. I naively believed her and thought that my father betrayed my family. Little did I know it was my mother having the affair all along. She accused others of what she was doing herself. I regretfully decided to stop speaking to my father. On July 11th, 2019, I would be flooded by the reality that my choice not to speak to him would be a lifelong sorrow. What I lost on July 11, 2019 was a father who was trying to help me in life, and a man who wanted to see his grandchild, and someone who wanted to give guidance and love. I lost a father. This affected me in more ways than anyone could ever know. I have to live with the regret of not speaking to him before he was murdered in cold blood. This did not only affect me. My little brother, JJ Vallow, was only 7 years old, and he had autism, and had his life picked apart and never explained. One day he saw his father coming to him to pick him up at the house, and then never saw him again. My sister Tylee carried too much responsibility and was put in positions no child should ever have to be in. Part of that responsibility was being told to retrieve Lori's purse inside the house, possibly witnessing her father's body. Here's the reality. Neither Tylee nor JJ had time to even process or grieve. My mother, Lori Vallow, moved them out of state, and only a couple of weeks later, little did we know that my little sister, Tylee, only had 60 days before she would meet the same fate. My little sister must have been so scared, confused, anxious, and broken, and angry, and every emotion you could think of. My little brother, JJ, would only have 74 days before he met the same fate. He must have been confused, worried, sad, and frustrated without the ability to fully comprehend his feelings. I know I'm here to tell you the effect that this has had on me. In simple terms, each one of my family members was taken from us all in one swoop. My father was gone in an instant, and later my sister and brother disappeared until they were later found in Lori Vallow's new husband's backyard. This has affected me personally. I had to do something I've never done, and that was fight to stay alive after the pain. There are no words for what I've experienced, and I had to choose to fight and to stay alive, for my children and for my wife. Now I'd like to address Lori Vallow. She claims to be Jesus's favorite. She claims to lead a spiritual life, and she claims that she loves everybody, and she also claims to have seen Jesus and visited with him. When did Jesus allow us to commit adultery? When did Jesus change the commandment of thou shalt not kill? When did Jesus allow us to steal money from our dead children? When did Jesus tell us to lie our way through life? It must be a very sad life to smile your way through all the pain you've caused. Rather than being able to acknowledge the pain that she has caused, she would rather say that Charles, Tylee, and JJ's death were a family tragedy and not her evil doing. And I will say this, if you want to see darkness, look at the murdering cult that claims God has commissioned their mission to kill my family and others. Quite frankly, I believe that Lori Vallow herself is the family tragedy. Thank you.
And I dare say all of that could easily be directed towards Lauren and John. They could take all of that could easily be directed towards Lauren and John. All of that advice that was given to Lori could easily be directed towards Lauren and John in this situation. And the fact that you would put these victims' names into your mouth and pull them into this situation, you owe that family a huge, huge apology. Hold on, I got to sneeze, I think. Ooh, it's got it right there and it won't come out. A misfired sneeze. So that's how I feel about all of that. Let me come over into the comments and see how you guys are feeling. I bet this isn't 100 of what he wanted to say to her. Oh no, I'm sure. I feel Colby, I think about a lot. I didn't used to, but now through all this situation, I think about him quite a bit because growing up with Lori as a mom, and I was thinking about Tylee and her weight, and somebody put in the idea of Lori being a feeder mom, and I'm like, yep. I see that too, and I see that there was probably some kind of abuse on Tylee, and women will often put on weight too as a form of protection. So that's what I was thinking. I feel so deeply for Colby, as a subscriber and member since his channel began. He had so much guilt. Charles, I know, and what I forgot about the fact that he turned his back on Charles at the end. That's got to be and a lot of people supported Lori, and wrong person to support, but people support women in these situations. They believe it when they say they're being abused. And it's so sad that now we've got to evaluate this kind of stuff. And that shit pisses me off, that I've got to sit here and evaluate whether you're being abused or not, when it should just be you either tell the truth or you don't. But okay. My childhood best friend gave me a beautiful dragonfly necklace when I was going through intensive chemotherapy treatments. It's my most cherished possession. Oh, that sounds lovely. I chose dragonflies as our power mascot because the dragonflies have been around forever. They used to be as big as yardsticks, and they're able to adjust to their environment and adapt to what's going on. And I thought that would be the perfect person, the perfect little representative for us, because for me, I have always been an adapter. I just, life knocks you down, you get back up and you adapt and you move on. I'm just grateful that my drive to succeed is back. Like when I tell you the last few years have been hell, and I didn't know if I was coming back. I really didn't know if I was coming back from the last thing that knocked me on my ass. So, I just think that I love a good success story. I sit there and watch videos of little animals that weren't going to make it and they do, it gives me hope and inspiration to keep going on. And I used to say I was a broken person, but I'm done saying that too. Like somebody said to me the other day, Amy, you're not broken. You're just creating. You're a creation. So you're not complete. Nobody is. You're just in creation. I was like, man, I like that so much better than I'm broken. I'm in creation. So Colby is still battling. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I think he had a stroke or a brain bleed or something or pulmonary or something. And I've had those things too recently. Like he had those recently, but in the past I've had 2 pulmonary embolisms. I had a stroke. Yes, I've had back surgery. I've got some autoimmunes. I deal with shit. And I'm never going to be like somebody who's going to be like, I'm always going to have these things. So like, I'm going to fall down. I'm going to get back up. I'm going to fall down. I'm going to get back up. It's the nature of the beast. I've realized that there is no end game to this life of ours. The end game is death. So it's just like a journey. I'm on the journey and I told you, I feel like I'm in my home stretch. I got the last 30, 40 good years and I'm not letting anyone ruin them for me. Like I am not. These are my unicorn years, looking for the unicorn in the rainbow, and I'm going to find it. So, and I hope you guys are able to do the same thing. I'm just here on your journey. Thank you for coming here and being with me today on mine. I am so grateful for all of you being here with me. Thank you for all of the new subscribers. Thank you to all of the old subscribers. I love you equally and in different ways and for different reasons. And so I'm going to head out. If there is anything in particular you want me to cover, I do a Florida Woman Friday. I'm going to be doing Sarah Boone update and Donna Adelson. But if there's like any Florida cases you want me to cover, I cover the Watts case. I do sometimes the Gypsy Rose. I'm kind of thinking about it because she's doing some new shit that's bothering me. I only cover the case if like I can't get into like Gypsy Rose Blanchard's case got into just talking about like who she was dating and what she looked like and was her kid real or not. Like that's not interesting to me. If it's interesting to you, like there's content creators out there that doing it, like all for you, do it. I'm interested in the psychology of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So, but there's other cases that I've been looking at. I've really been getting into the Murdaugh case because there's that new miniseries, and I really kind of think we're going to get Murdaugh again. I think he's going to get a new trial because of what that clerk did. And there's also the Eileen Warnos. There's a new movie that came out that's very interesting, talking about the psychology of her. That's a Florida case, so I'm considering putting that on the docket for one of our Florida Woman Fridays. So, but if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. I usually cover it where I pull a bunch of stories and I put it together. Like when I did art, I always like the mixed media, and I kind of consider myself a mixed media podcaster where I just pull from different sources to create a story for you. I've tried to do scripted things and it's just not really my thing. These are semi-scripted. I kind of research it and I get it all set up for you, lined up, and then I just let my mouth go. Oh, and I do try to get like what I pull up, like specific dates, so I don't get that stuff wrong for you guys, but that's how I do it. Okay, guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Be sure to subscribe and share it out. I've seen it shared out over on I'm a Reddit girl. I like heading over to Reddit, so thank you. I've seen some of my stuff over on Reddit, and I've seen some stuff over on Facebook. So and I think I've seen some stuff over here on YouTube. So thank you so much for doing that. I am someone that my stuff is yours. Just use it. And yeah, and I put all my sources down in the YouTube show notes. So if you want to use anything that I have or use my stuff, it's there. I'm going to head out, you guys. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
is my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out.
With you tonight, and it feels fine. Feels fine. Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.